Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we are going to master the absolute backbone of professional CAD design. If you want to graduate from just, tossing lines onto a screen to drafting like a true pro, you have got to master layers. It is the core framework, the literal blueprint that transforms digital chaos into a clean, precise, and easily readable masterpiece. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture an absolute nightmare scenario for a second. Imagine a massive, highly complex architectural drawing. We are talking structural walls, electrical wiring, plumbing pipes, dimensions, text notes, the whole shebang. Now imagine every single one of those elements is drawn on a single flattened digital layer, all in the exact same color, all the exact same line thickness. It would be an unreadable, tangled mess of overlapping lines, right? Without a system to separate things out, finding a simple mistake or just trying to edit a specific part of the design becomes this incredibly risky game of digital Jenga. Pull one wrong line and boom, the whole drawing falls apart.
To completely solve that disorganized drawing problem, here is our roadmap for today. We'll be following a logical why, how, and what progression. First, the purpose of layers. Second, creating and assigning properties. Third, drawing and managing visibility. And finally, standards and future productivity. Section 1, the purpose of layers, organizing the chaos. We're going to start by getting into the why of layering, thinking of this invisible digital space as perfectly stacked, transparent sheets of acetate. When you adopt that acetate sheet mindset, the immediate benefits to your daily workflow are just incredible. First up, you get instant organization of information. Your outlines, your text, your dimensions, they are all safely separated on their own transparent sheets. Second, you achieve vastly improved clarity and presentation. For instance, when it is time to actually present the final drawing to a client, you can just hide the layer holding all your messy underlying construction lines. What is left is a perfectly clean professional design. And finally, it allows for highly efficient editing and control. You can safely isolate and modify one specific part of your drawing without the constant fear of accidentally wrecking something else. But it goes way beyond just the visual clarity on your screen. Mastering layers impacts the entire life cycle of a project, creating these massive systemic advantages. It drastically enhances your overall productivity by speeding up the drawing process and pretty much eliminating repetitive work. It also makes collaboration incredibly seamless. When multiple people are working in the same CAD file, a layered system divides the work logically. It makes it so much easier for a teammate to jump in and actually understand the design. And as your projects inevitably get larger, layers give you much better file management, keeping those complex projects easy to update and reuse down the line.
Section 2, creating and assigning properties, building the structure. Now that we've got the philosophy and the why down, it's time to shift gears into the mechanical how. Let's actually build the structure within your CAD software.
Everything starts right here in the Layer Properties Manager. You open this up from the Home tab on your ribbon, and you can consider this your central command hub. This is the absolute starting point where you'll click the New Layer button. Now, when that new layer populates, the very first thing you must do is rename it according to its specific purpose. Seriously, do not leave it as Layer 1 or Layer 2. Give it a crystal clear descriptive name like outline, dimensions, text, or center lines.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we do next. Naming the layer is just step 1. Now we actually have to assign its properties. For every single layer, you define its color, which helps you visually distinguish elements while you are drafting on screen. You've got to define the line type. Is it a continuous solid line, a dashed line, maybe a patterned center line? Then there is line weight, which dictates exactly how thick or thin that specific line will be when it is finally printed out on paper. You can even adjust transparency for extra clarity. By meticulously mapping out these specific functions, you are actively and perfectly aligning your drawing with strict industry standards.
Section 3, Drawing and Managing Visibility, Taking Control. Okay, the structure is built, your layers are named and formatted. Now it is time to take active control over the drawing process itself. This process right here is the absolute most crucial habit you need to develop as a CAD designer. Before you draw a single line, you must tell the software which acetate sheet you want to draw on. Step 1, select the appropriate layer in your manager. Step 2, you must click Set Current. That actively turns the layer on. Step 3, draw your specific objects. As you work, you're going to constantly switch between layers, setting a new one as current as needed. This active switching ensures that every single dimension lands exactly on the dimension layer, and every piece of text lands squarely on the text layer.
Now, what's really interesting about this distinction is the subtle yet incredibly vital difference between just managing visibility and actually managing system performance. As your drawing gets complex, you have two main tools. We have on/off. This simply shows or hides the layer from your screen. It just gets it out of your visual way. But then we have freeze/thaw. Freezing a layer doesn't just hide it, it temporarily disables that layer entirely from the software's memory processing. So if you are working on a massive project and your computer is suddenly lagging, freezing the layers you aren't currently using will massively improve your system's performance. Finally, we've got the lock and unlock feature. Let's be totally honest with each other here. We have all experienced the sheer, heart-stopping terror of realizing you just accidentally deleted, or slightly nudged, 3 hours of complex line work. It is a horrible feeling. Locking a layer literally saves your sanity. It keeps the layer perfectly visible on your screen for reference, but it completely prevents any accidental editing, moving, or deleting. Rule of thumb, always lock the layers of your drawing that are finished and approved. Section 4, Standards and Future Productivity, Scaling Up. So, we've mastered the local CAD tools. Let's look at how we scaled these exact practices up to match the global industry and really lock in your future productivity. The ultimate goal here is to, and I quote, organize and manage different elements of a drawing effectively while following recognized standards such as company procedures, British standards, and ISO. This tells us something absolutely paramount. Listen, layering isn't just about your personal preference or making things look pretty for your own sake. Using standard colors, line types, and weights is a strict, universally recognized industry requirement. Whether you're following your internal company procedures, British standards, or international ISO codes, a correct layering system guarantees that your drawing can be read and interpreted flawlessly by any engineer or architect anywhere in the world. So, the most crucial point to take away is this. Once you have built a flawless layer structure that complies with those industry standards, you should literally never have to build it again. You can save your commonly used, perfectly formatted layers into a master template file. The next time you start a project, you simply open that template, and boom, your entire organizational structure is already right there waiting for you. By leveraging these standard setups, you ensure perfect consistency across every single project you touch, and you drastically reduce your repetitive setup time. We spend so much time making sure our physical workspaces and our digital folders are neat and tidy. But ask yourself right now, your tools are organized? Are your layers? Are you utilizing that Layer Properties Manager to its absolute full potential? Are you freezing layers to boost performance, locking them to prevent a total disaster, and using templates to save your valuable time? I highly encourage you, the exact second this explainer finishes, to open up your CAD software, open up that Layer Properties Manager, and start building the blueprint for your own success. Thanks so much for joining me today.